Okay, fine. So, students, we have discussed about different kind of theories of intelligence, and under that we have covered the psychometric approach and the information processing approach. So under these approaches, under these model, different kind of theories were there that we have discussed. Now let us proceed to another topic, that is intelligence, interplay of nature and nurture. Now, what does it include? We have to show the contribution of both the nature, that is the biological aspect, the genes, the heredity. And what is nurture? Nurture means the environment, the surrounding, other factors which are equally influencing and contributing in development of intelligence of an individual, right? Now, under this, what do people have to do? First, just get it clear, as we have discussed it many times. Different kind of research is done on different kind of children. We have compared the identical twins, right? The fraternal twins, the siblings which were reared together, the siblings which were reared apart, right? So all these studies you have to quote down, you have to remember as it is, and the percentage is also given, right? The correlation is also given. So just underline, you already have underlined, I know. You have to give, suppose I take intelligence of identical twins, right? So it is, if they are reared together, then what is the correlation? It's almost 0.90. Okay? So in the same manner, you're going to quote down identical twins, reared together, reared apart, fraternal twins, reared together, reared apart. In the same manner about the siblings also. And you have to write the correlation aspect. This is all about the genetic aspect, the nature. Fine. Now, an important question could be asked from this particular topic, that with respect to the role of the environment, studies have reported that as children grow in age, their intelligence level tends to move closer to that of their adoptive parents. Now we are talking about whom? The children who have been adopted. Fine, we have talked about the siblings, the twins. Now, what question could be asked in the context of adopted children? How does their intelligence determine? Either by their biological parents or by their adoptive parents, right? So this question could be there. So underline, if you can locate the lines, page number 10, first column, last paragraph, the first lines. With respect to the role of environment, studies have reported that as children grow in age, the adopted children we are talking about, their intelligence level tends to move closer to that of their adoptive parents. Now, if this statement is there and you have to describe under 2-mark question or a 3-mark question, then example is must. And what all things will bring to write to define it, to explain it, that children from disadvantaged homes adopted into families with higher socio-economic status exhibits a large increase in their intelligence scores. So simply they are telling that nurture is playing a very important role in this, environment is playing a very important role, right? And if the children are adopted in good families with good socio-economic condition, so what they are getting there, they are getting their good education, they are getting good nutritional food there, and apart from these basic things also, they are getting many opportunities, many facilities which really help in increasing their intelligence level to a certain extent. We can never say that a child below average can be intellectually superior if environment is very sound, environment is very proper for her or him. But yes, we can say that the IQ level could be increased to a certain level, right? And to conclude this thing, what we'll write, that heredity can best be viewed as something that sets a range within which an individual's development is actually shaped by the support and opportunities of the environment. Understood? By this statement, we can conclude the answer, and it itself telling all the things that what heredity is providing you. Heredity is providing you the range. It is providing you a kind of frame in which, inside which you can develop. Now, this depends upon you that how much you develop. But yes, there is a limit set by heredity, right? You cannot cross that limit. But yes, under that, inside that frame and inside that limit, if you are getting proper support, if you are getting good opportunities, if you are getting sound facilities in the environment, your intelligence level could be increased to an extent. Fine. So this is the question generally asked related to interplay of nature and nurture. Now let us start another subtopic, assessment of intelligence. Another important topic, assessment of intelligence. How can we measure intelligence? Under this, remember the year also this time it has been asked, 1905, Alfred Binet and Theodore Simon. You can remember the Binet and Simon, fine? So in 1905, Binet and Simon, two psychologists, have successfully attempted to formally measure intelligence. They have given the concept of mental age and the chronological age. Mental age, the age related to your IQ level, and chronological age, the real age, the biological age of yours, right? So MA, which is a measure of a person's intellectual development relative to people of her or his age group. Chronological age is a biological age from birth. Now, after this, these concepts have given by Binet and Simon clear in 1905. Now, another psychologist, that is William Stern, a German psychologist, in 1912 has devised the concept of IQ, intelligent quotient. Do not confuse. Many times you people, children, make this mistake. Whenever there is a question that who has given the concept of intelligent quotient, they simply write Binet and Simon because they do not read it carefully. William Stern, a German psychologist, in 1912 had given this concept of IQ, fine? And what is IQ? It refers to mental age divided by chronological age and multiplied by 100. A very simple formula is given. IQ is equal to MA upon CA into 100, right? This is about the formula. Now, question could be asked to take out the IQ level, right? You can see activity 1.3. Just do it on your own, page number 10. Question could be asked in this form, fine? So if you are clear with the formula, you can easily, it's a very easy maths, right? So you can do this calculation on your own. The question could be asked from activity 1.3 in the form of such question, that find out the IQ of a child having this mental age or not given CA and giving the CA and not the MA. Fine. Now, what is next? We have to explain figure 1.2 also, and we have to also give the explanation. So this is also quite important. So write IMP, important on it. Figure 1.2, what is it? Normal curve pattern showing distribution of IQ scores in the population. IQ scores कैसे distributed है हमारी population में? It is in a such a way that the scores of most people tend to fall in the middle range of the distribution, right? Majority है जो most of the people are falling in which category? In the middle range of the distribution. The middle range of distribution, what is it? Only a few people have either very high or very low scores, right? It is very easily you can make out. The frequency distribution for the IQ scores tends to approximate a bell-shaped curve. Now, one more question could be asked that what is the shape of the curve? It is a bell-shaped curve. Why? Because in the middle, it is showing the majority of the population falling. So it is going in the upward direction, right? Like a bell. And at the extremities, left and right side, it is touching the line. It is going down because small portion of the population fall under this category in the extremities, below average and intellectually or very superior, fine. The mean IQ score in a population is 100, as you all can see in figure 1.2. 100 is there, mean is written, and it is the average score, right? So the mean IQ is what? Underline this, 100. People with IQ scores in the range of 90 to 110 have normal intelligence. 90 और 110 के बीच में जितने individuals fall कर रहे हैं, they are having a normal intelligence. Now to learn this, you can also go through table 1.1, which is classification of people on the basis of IQ. Well, I will suggest you to learn the IQ range, descriptive label. For sure, you have to learn both these categories. But if you can also have an idea about the percent in the population, that is very good. If you can understand, write the percent in the population also, so that will also make your answer very impressive. But if you cannot, so you can skip the percent, but just go through this to get an idea how does the population fall in these categories. Okay, एक बार quickly just take it. IQ ranges, what are the ranges? Below 70, then 70 to 79. Okay, next is from 80 to 89, then 90 to 109. Another is 110 to 190, 120 to 130, and last one is above 130. Okay, same, the categories, the description has been given. Intellectually disabled people are there, borderline is there, low average is there. Then what is average, which we are talking about? That is from 90 to 110, right? High average, superior, and very superior. Okay, so you can see very superior में कितना percent है? 2.2. और intellectually disabled में भी कितना है? 2.2. So these are what? Extremities, जिसमें बहुत कम portion, कम percentage of population fall होता है. So this is all you have to learn and remember and write it as well. Okay, figure 1.2, table 1.1, and the formula of IQ, and that statement interplay of nature and nurture about the adopted children. Right? So this is all about, all the questions could be asked from these topics. Now let us move to another one. What is it? Variations of intelligence. Now variations of intelligence, when we say, we easily get an idea about varieties or lot of types are there of intelligence. See what they are explaining, that first, in order to be judged as intellectually disabled, a person must show significantly sub-average intellectual function. This could be a question asked, that what is the sign of a sub-average intellectual functioning? So what is this? That in order to be judged as intellectually disabled, if we are giving a tag to a child that he is intellectually disabled, right? So what should be the characteristic? What should be the feature? That a person must show significantly sub-average intellectual functioning. Persons having IQ below 70 are judged to have sub-average intelligence. The second relates to deficit in adaptive behavior. What is adaptive behavior? The person is not able to adjust to the thing. He is not able to adapt to the thing. So he is lacking all these kind of capabilities. Adaptive behavior refers to a person's capacity to be independent and deal effectively with one's environment. The child or the person is not able to do his things, his own tasks independently. He needs somebody's assistance. The third feature is that the deficits must be observed during the developmental period, that is between 0 and 18 years of age. So these three features are very important to giving a tag to someone that is intellectually disabled. Development year में अगर उसके कोई भी deficit हमें दिखता है, and what is the duration of development period? From 0 to 18 years of age, right? So this is important among variations of intelligence, intellectual deficiency. Now let us start discussing the categories which have been given about the different kind of disabilities: mild, moderate, severe, and profound. These are the classification of intellectually disabled children, basically. Now what you have to learn, if you can remember the IQ range, well and good. And on the basis of this only, we're going to explain. Mild IQ range is what? 55 to approx 70. Those who are having from 55 to approx 70, they are having mild disability, right? Intellectual disability. Moderate में 35-40 से लेकर approximately 50 IQ range, 50 to 55. So this is an IQ range. You have to go through this and you can remember also. So it's good if you write the IQ range in bracket while explaining. Although the development of people with mild disability is typically slower than that of their peers, they can function quite independently, hold jobs and families, right? So these are certain characteristics which you can give. So I'm not explaining this again. 4 kind of disabilities, intellectual disabilities there: mild, moderate, severe, and profound. Give the IQ range in the bracket and give 2 to 3 features of that particularly IQ range or that category, right? So this is all about variations of intelligence and intellectual deficiency. Now another thing under the same variations of intelligence की जब बात करें तो we have talked about the intellectually disabled children, right? And now we're going to discuss about the intellectual gifted. 2 extremities are there, right? So intellectual giftedness की बात करेंगे, then what we're going to discuss that what is the meaning of the word talent and giftedness. So a basic difference could be asked between giftedness and talent. So just underline these 2 terms. What is giftedness? It is an exceptional general ability shown in superior performance in a wide variety of areas, right? Now, what is talent? It is a narrower term and refers to remarkable ability in specific field. Got the difference? 1 mark question could be there. What is the simple basic difference between giftedness and talent? So giftedness is what? It is a more broader term, right? And the person is showing excellence in a variety of areas. Then only you can give a person a tag that you are gifted, right? And what is talent? It is a narrower term and refers to remarkable ability in a specific field, in a specific stream. And what could be? It could be spiritual, it could be social, it could be aesthetic, etc. The highly talented sometimes called prodigies, right? So these are also, this is also a term which could be asked. So underline this, a 1 mark question could be there. So from intellectual giftedness, what is talent? What is giftedness? What the highly talented people are known as? Fill in the blanks aa sakta hai, right? A 1 mark question could be there. Now what else? It has been suggested by psychologists that giftedness from the teacher's point of view depends on a combination of high ability, high creativity, and high commitment. Now a question could be there that from teacher's point of view, how you will define the intellectual giftedness, right? So from this point of view, there are 3 terms which you have to explain. First is high ability, second is high creativity, and third is high commitment. All the words are clear to you, all the terms are clear. Ability you understand, creativity you understand, and commitment you understand, how committed you are towards your work, right? How serious and dedicated you are. Gifted children show early signs of intellectual superiority. Even during infancy and early childhood, they show larger attention span, good recognition, memory, preference for novelty, sensitivity to environmental changes, and early appearance of language skills. So this could be some of the examples at how you will recognize a child who's intellectually gifted or superior. So he is having all these qualities. He is learning language very quickly. He has a good span of attention. He always prefer for new things. He is sensitive to the environmental changes. What does sensitive to environmental changes means? That they take all these changes into consideration instead of getting irritated, frustrated, or annoyed. He take these changes in a very positive manner and he deal with it very effectively, right? Athletes who show superior psychomotor ability are also gifted. The athletes, the runners who show superior psychomotor abilities, they are also gifted. Each gifted student possesses different strengths, personalities and characteristics. Okay, अब some of the characteristics you can give to make your answer more impressive. So just go through these characteristics. All are very simple. You can give these characteristics also. So I think this is all about variations of intelligence. All these questions could be asked. What are the features of intellectually disabled children? What are the categories of intellectual disability? What do you mean by giftedness? What is the difference between talent and giftedness, right? From the teacher's point of view, how can you describe in the form of three things, right? Commitment and ability and high creativity. And then you can give the characteristics of a gifted child. This is done with variations of intelligence. Now we'll be going to, ma'am, we can stop with the recording.